Wow. Surprise, surprise. Apparently, Cory Booker and other presidential candidates all of a sudden think that the rules need to be changed uh, because they are unfair to candidates who want to be on the debate stage. Hmm. I feel like we have heard some version of this before. Let's talk about it. So, according to Cory Booker, and no one else has ever had any complaints whatsoever with the Democratic debate rules. Nobody, right? Not a single person. Not one. But according to Cory Booker and only Cory Booker, the rules to get on the debate stage are not fair. They're not fair. They're not transparent. They're arbitrary. And Cory Booker feels like he should be included. Now, one of the reasons that is being used to justify this complaint is that the stage isn't quote unquote diverse enough. Now, I do want to be clear about something. There are women represented on that stage. Uh, Andrew Yang is a minority here in the United States and definitely a minority in politics. Tulsi, she's not going to be debating, but she's also in the race and doing very well. And if you think Julian Castro, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, etc., if you think that they're not on the debate stage because of their race, because of their ethnicity, because of their gender, then you haven't been paying attention. But let's not be mistaken, ladies and gentlemen. The rules to get on the DNC debate stage, they are arbitrary. They don't make any sense. Nobody understands how these rules came to be, where they got these metrics from. So yeah, that's legitimate. But here's the thing. As I am reading this to you right now, the New York Times has covered this. The Washington Post has covered this. BuzzFeed has covered it. The Daily Caller has covered it. CNN obviously has covered it. It was trending on Twitter at one point. You know, there's been a petition that has been circulated by the Cory Booker campaign. Guess what? All 7 candidates that were on the last debate stage, that are going to be on the next debate stage, my apologies, have signed it. Julian Castro has also signed it. Wow. I just wish. I'm so thankful for Cory Booker, because if Cory Booker didn't speak up, then how would we ever know? How would we ever know that the debate polling, or just in general, the arbitrary metrics given by the DNC to determine who makes the debate, how would we ever know that the system is flawed if Cory Booker wasn't brave enough to stand up? Oh, that's right. We know because Tulsi has already told us. She's already told us this. What's interesting to me is how much people have just fallen in love with this idea now. It's crazy, because here's the difference. Tulsi didn't even demand that the rules needed to be changed. She didn't even demand that. Tulsi had one simple request, ladies and gentlemen. Her request is, be more transparent. Explain to me why a YouGov Economist poll is less accurate, less reliable than a YouGov. Is it Washington Post or one of those liberal friendly organizations? Explain to me why the Boston Globe, which is a subsidiary and actually under sole control of the New York Times, isn't a qualifying poll, despite the fact that it's very clearly owned by the New York Times. And they're the ones responsible. Why isn't that a qualifying poll but the New York Times is. Explain to me why a CNN poll isn't qualifying, or is qualifying, but a Fox News poll is not, even though they're using similar metrics for their polling, but also a lot of these polls that they're saying aren't reliable enough have actual better margin of errors. They have better margin of errors. In other words, they're more accurate. They're more likely to be true. Tulsi wasn't even demanding that you change the rules. Just be more transparent and forthright about how you're going about your business, ladies and gentlemen. See, I got 2 super chats. Marcus Willow, thanks for the super chat. How do we get Tulsi to meet with Assange? That probably has to be done through congressional channels because she's still a sitting congresswoman. I think it'd be different because you have to think she's a congresswoman and currently he has an indictment with the United States, not only in the UK, but in the United States. So because of our government being involved with him now and the extradition process, it isn't quite as easy for her to just pick up and go visit him as it was to go see what was happening with Syria and Assad. So I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Denise Gibson, 53, thanks for the super chat. How do we get Tulsi on the stage? Tulsi is not debating. She's busy trying to win New Hampshire and South Carolina. But my point is, as far as the Tulsi point is concerned, Tulsi was attacked. She was called a sore loser. And what's disappointing to me is that when all of this was happening, Bernie was asked by Meghan McCain, or as most of you all refer to her as, John McCain's daughter. She never lets us forget. He was asked, should you stand up for Tulsi the same way she stood up for you? Because of the arbitrary nature of the debates, because it wasn't the debates, the style of the debates, the amount of debates in 2016 was not conducive to a productive democratic process. It was not conducive to an educated, it wasn't conducive to an educational awareness that has to be gained over months because people have jobs. I'm not off I am now because this is what I do. But whenever I was working my full-time job, I wasn't off every single debate. Sometimes you have to work. The other time you might be able to catch the next debate. Maybe you got a family. There's a lot of reasons why you have to have multiple debates. And Meghan McCain asked, should you stand up for Tulsi? Now, standing up for Tulsi means supporting what she said. That's it. Which is the nature of the selection process is arbitrary and it is not transparent. All Tulsi asked was for transparency. I don't understand what is so hard to support about this. But Bernie's answer was, in fact, well, you can't blame the DNC. There are too many candidates on stage. They have to wind down the candidates somehow. That was Bernie's response. Now, why is that disappointing to me? Because once again, we have now been put in a situation where we can contrast Bernie's response here versus what he is saying with Cory Booker. Cory Booker demanded a rules change and actually introduced a petition to all of the candidates. Bernie signed this petition. So unfortunately, we have now seen another situation where Bernie is seemingly not supporting principle, or either is or is not supporting principle, but instead is or is not supporting the person discussing the principle based off of some type of political posturing. That's problematic for me. My thing is, so for example, Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang said Tulsi needs to be on the debate stage when she missed the last debate. He's also saying, because he's talking about how arbitrary the rules are, Andrew Yang has been consistent in this. Whether or not he's made the debate stage, he's been consistent in this. So when he signs a petition You think that he's signing the petition saying, I like Cory Booker? Or is he signing the petition saying, I have a problem with the way this has been conducted, regardless of whether or not I've been on the debate stage? That's consistency. All Tulsi asked was for transparency. Cory Booker is asking to change the rules, demanding that we change the rules to fit him, although he's been celebrated and still can't make the debate stage. He's been celebrated and touted and propped up by the mainstream. So my question is, what are we going to do? Like, why? At what point can we just be real about the patterns that we are seeing? Because this isn't the first time that we have seen something like this take place as far as Bernie's behavior, which is now becoming increasingly concerning to me. When Tulsi was getting railroaded by the entire establishment in a way we have never seen before, Bernie was silent. Bernie didn't come to her defense. Nor did anybody really ask him to come to her defense, because Tulsi is a big girl. But it does say something about who you are, right? Nobody, when Hillary attacked Tulsi didn't ask for Nina to come to his defense. Tulsi didn't ask for Yang to come to his defense, didn't ask Marianne Williamson to come to her defense. But it does say something about each of those individuals. When they do come to the defense, when they see somebody is being wronged, when they see someone who is trying to help the world is being wronged, and they speak out, that says something about them. But what does it say when Bernie won't defend a person who put it all on the line for his movement? Not just him, but his movement. But you'll write a letter to Center for American Progress, an open letter that you also send to the New York Times, to defend Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker when they get little nonsensical, they get love taps. They got love tapped by Think Progress and Center for American Progress and a couple of other mainstream outlets. They got love tapped by it. And Bernie felt like he had to write a whole scathing letter against Center for American Progress. What does it look like when you can defend Elizabeth Warren regularly, but not defend the person who put on the line for you? What does it look like when Meghan McCain asks you, just can you stand up for her the same way she stood up for you? And it isn't even as big of a deal, because all Tulsi was asking for was to speak up and stand up for transparency. That's it. What does it look like when you can't speak up for Julian Assange, but you can celebrate a CIA asset pretending to be a whistleblower? Elijah Freeman, close the live chat and like the video. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Marcus Wolf, Tulsi is grassroots. She doesn't need the debate. At this moment, she doesn't need the debate. As she begins to close in on Warren, Bernie, and Biden, she will. But that won't be until after New Hampshire, because she'll have to begin to separate herself from Warren and Bernie, and that will require her to be on the debate stage where she can challenge people on foreign policy. But right now, I agree. How many times have I said this? I said she didn't need to be part of the last debate. I was very clear about that. I still felt like by the end of the debate, even though she got a good lick on Pete Buttigieg, I felt like even then she didn't need to be a part of the debate. Because she just has so much more she has to do with less resources. And although she's doing a fantastic job, it's a lot of energy, a lot of effort. And at that point, especially in the last debate, she was sick for a couple of weeks prior to the debate. So she's prepping for the debate, traveling between New Hampshire, Hawaii, and California multiple times over a course of a 2-week period, trying to get the situation with Bolivia, get a hold of that situation, because that's what was taking place right before the debate, and then prepping for the debate, all at the same time, with nowhere near the amount of staff as everybody else has. So I prefer that strategically it was smart for her to sit out the debates, and she was very clear, very deliberate, and said, I'm sitting out, and I want to talk to voters in New Hampshire and South Carolina. If you are a donor and you have a problem with her sitting out the debate to talk to voters, then I'm questioning exactly why you donated to her. Because I know there are some Bernie supporters who actually try to attack her. Oh, why did I donate to her then? You donated to her because you wanted Tulsi to do Bernie's dirty work. Because you're worried that your donation can't actually buy influence on one campaign, but you are pretty sure that if you donate to Tulsi and you tag her, you meet with her in person, et cetera, you know she's going to hear you. And she heard us. How many times have we demanded people attack or go after Pete Buttigieg? She heard us. How many times have we demanded that people go after Kamala? Not on anything illegitimate, not on any ad hominem attack, but with facts and analysis. That's what she did. So if you have when I donated to her, my goal was to get her on the debate stage at one point. But why did I want her on the debate stage? What was the next step? I wanted her to win. I wanted her to win the election. I wanted her to put herself in the best position to win the election. I wanted her to use my dollars to put herself in the best position to win this election. Period, point blank. But if I ask Tulsi right now what her stance is as far as the debates are concerned, Tulsi's going to have the same answer. If I asked Tulsi while she was on that debate stage last month, guess what? The nature of the selection process is still arbitrary. It is still non-transparent. Thankful I get to be here to speak to the American people, but it's still not transparent. And that's the difference between her and Cory Booker. Where was Cory Booker at when Tulsi was talking about the ridiculous standards that are being set by the DNC? Where was Cory Booker at? Out of curiosity. Nowhere to be found. Where, I already talked about Bernie. Obviously, Kamala is Kamala. Hell, Biden, even though Tulsi isn't friends with Biden, she likely defended him because she was friends with his late son, his son who passed away. And yet, even Biden wouldn't speak up just to say, hey, we should be transparent. But this is where I got to give credit where credit is due. Marianne Williamson spoke up. And at the time, she didn't know if she would make it, but she spoke up. Yang, who did make it, the debate that Tulsi was forced to sit out of, still spoke up. Actually, some of Bernie's surrogates spoke up too, which was dope. Roseanne DeMauro, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She spoke up. I believe even Nina spoke up, I believe. Dr. Shmuley, Bernie's surrogate who focuses on Medicare for all, she spoke up. Where was Cory Booker? Where was Julian Castro then? All the people who signed that letter, but didn't give a damn, even though Tulsi's polling better than Cory Booker, even though Tulsi is outraising Cory Booker, even though Tulsi has a much more unique message than Cory Booker, and most of all, if you're a progressive, even though Tulsi is clearly more progressive than Cory Booker has ever been. This is the best version of Cory Booker we've gotten, and it's not even close to Tulsi. So I just find it very interesting that everybody's playing follow the leader now, right? Because when Tulsi decided to sit out the debates, there's different varying reasons as to why people are threatening to sit out the debates now. I believe that in Bernie's case, it's legit. But who else other than Trump? Got to get a man credit where credit is due. But other than Trump, who else has had the balls to say, I'm not doing this? For whatever reason. For whatever reason. Trump was sitting out the debates for a very similar reason as Tulsi is. Even though he was guaranteed to be in that upcoming debate in 2016, he sat out because of the way he was being treated by the Republican Party. And he wanted to prove a point that they needed him. He was right. But other than that, who else? No Democrat has been audacious enough to say, you know what? This is a farce. I'm going to talk to the people instead. I'm going to follow the people instead. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to meet with them. I'm I'm going to hear their concerns. I'm going to figure out what issues are most important to them rather than participate in this nonsensical bread and circus act. That takes a level of leadership that is yet to be seen in the Democratic Party. And now, in 1 week, Tulsi announces she's boycotting the debate. Almost the entire Democratic field threatens to boycott the debate. Cory Booker, Tulsi spoke out months ago about the ridiculous requirements for the debate stage. Now Cory Booker and every candidate on the debate stage next week signed on to his petition to change the rules. Remember when Tulsi spoke out against Iran and everybody else quickly followed suit? I'm beginning to see a pattern. And that pattern is, if you have to catch up to the person who you are saying is in last place, if you're constantly having to catch up to her, maybe it's because she's actually in the lead. Maybe it's because she is the leader. Maybe it's because she has foresight. And her decisions are based in objectivity, fairness, and transparency. Her decisions are not selfish ones. They're not self-motivated ones. They're not decisions based off of ego. Although people would try and say that, which is a weird type of attack. It's a weird attack. Nobody's ever made that attack. Nobody in the establishment made that attack against Kamala Harris. Yet you still see people say that she's running off of ego. That Tulsi's running off of ego. Yeah, because everybody runs off of ego after they sacrifice their career and have their reputation tarnished and have their family attacked and their friends attacked. Everybody runs off of ego. Everybody who has that happen to them decides, yeah, let me put myself in the spotlight and put my brand on the line even more than what it was. Nobody says that, by the way. That was sarcasm. She's a leader. She's a leader in thought. She's a leader in action. She's a leader in integrity. How many people spoke up? How many Democrat presidential candidates spoke up about Assange? And then what happened? Oh, that's another example. Because she was like, this sets a horrible precedent. This is a horrible precedent. This is a horrible precedent. Oh my God. The mainstream was attacking her. Not the progressives, but the mainstream was attacking her. Oh my God. How could you say that? Assange is like, she's like, I don't care what you think about him. This sets a horrible precedent. I'm telling you, it's not going to be good. And then guess what happens? All of a sudden, whenever they found out about the sealed indictment that everybody else, that I actually reported on the sealed indictment, and everybody thought, all the Trump people thought I was lying about the sealed indictment. I'm not joking. Anyway, long story short, Maddow and the whole team had to change course. Oh, damn. Man, look, man, we don't like Assange, but this is a bad precedent. Oh, wow. You think? Once again, I just wish somebody who was in a position of influence, maybe even running for the highest office in the land, I just wish that somebody like that would have spoke up and said the exact same thing first. Interesting. So my question to everybody who's listening, if you're not a Tulsi supporter yet, or maybe you are, or she's your number 2 or your number 3, for whatever reason, my question to you is, are you trying to select the person you think will win so you can be part of the winning team? Or are you trying to select the best candidate for the job? Are you trying to select the best leader for the job? Because y'all have seen me, and I would be quick, I'm about done, but y'all have seen me debate time and time again. And everybody who tells me, and with so much ferocity, that they're voting for somebody, no matter who the candidate is, by the way, but they're telling me with such ferocity, I'm voting for this person because they're the best candidate. And then by the end of the debate, it's clear to literally everyone who has any type of objectivity, okay, damn, no, Tulsi actually is the best candidate. And it wasn't much of a debate. Any debate that I've had, it's not much of one, because Tulsi makes it very easy, very, very, very easy to win these debates, which is once again another testament to how better she is than the rest of the field. You get one issue right before everybody else, you could call it luck. 2 issues right before everybody else, you might even be able to just say they were following a wave. 3 issues, 4 issues, 5 issues, 6 issues, issues that are really the staple of populist, anti-war, progressive conversations over the last 3-4 years. I mean, how many times does she need to be the first one before? Like, think about it. I mean, Bernie was the first one to talk about, for example, Medicare for all, as far as the presidential race is concerned. Well, actually, he wasn't. Kucinich talked about it, and my man Mike Gravel talked about it in 2008 in that election. But Bernie has been advocating for it in Congress for some time, and he also advocated for free college. That's something that he was ahead on 2 or 3 things. And back then, that was more than enough. That was more than enough. However, he was ahead of the neoliberals on a lot of things. Not necessarily everybody, but on the neoliberals. Tulsi is ahead of everybody, and it's not by a little bit. It's by a whole lot. And she's ahead of everybody, even with the constant attacks. And it seems like she will not be deterred. That's the difference between her and everybody else. If Tulsi had decided to sign that petition, it wouldn't have been because Cory Booker signed it and Cory Booker is a palatable candidate to the establishment. No, absolutely not. It would have been signed by Tulsi because it was the right thing to do. Just like when she spoke about it 6 months ago, it was the right thing to talk about then. And nobody else wanted to talk about it. It didn't all of a sudden become, their rules didn't become arbitrary and non-transparent just because Cory Booker introduced a petition. They've been non-transparent. And Tulsi was the only one bold enough to call those rules out and call the DNC out and challenge them there. She got attacked for it. Booker gets celebrated for it. We have a saying here at the MCSC network. It's hard being right first all the time. Me, Fiorella Pasta, we talk about it regularly. It's hard being first. When we were calling out Elizabeth Warren in February, we got attacked for it. When we were telling everybody that Tulsi was going to be the most Googled candidate in the first debate, we were attacked for it. We were called sycophants. When people were saying she's polling at 1%, we said, you keep paying attention to those polls if you want to. Keep paying attention to those polls if you want to, and watch what happens. I said after the first time, I said in every single stage that Tulsi is is on, every single debate stage Tulsi is on, she will be the most Googled candidate from here on out. Guess what happened? We said it. We predicted that Kamala would be taken down by Tulsi. Actually, everybody loved that part. We predicted that she would get the Evo Morales answer correct. And if she took a minute, which we later found out is because she was literally sick out of her mind, and trying to prep for the debate simultaneously, learning everything there is to know about the situation in Bolivia. We said, hey, she's going to take her time, but I guarantee she's going to get it right and it's going to be the best answer. We got attacked for that too, even though we were still pressing her to hurry up and release a statement. So when I tell you, we understand here at the MCSC Network how being right first all the time can sometimes be more damaging than anything else if you are not playing ball for the system, if you will. And that's facts. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into that live stream segment of Mika Sister Casa. Make sure to like this video, share this video, and more than anything else, always remember, find your balance. Peace. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Of course, if YouTube is giving you trouble, as it always does, you can download the Rockfin app and follow us there. Also, if you want to continue to help our show grow, you can help us reach our goal of 500 patrons on Patreon and donate as little as $1. Really, anything helps. Other than that, always remember, people, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.